Hey guys, it's Casey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are starting a new segment called Tack Talk, where we get to talk about anything, everything horses. And during Tack Talk, I kind of want it to be like a conversation, or like if we're talking face to face, but like we're also going to be like cleaning tack. I have a whole tack container full of stuff that needs to be cleaned, and I just thought, clean tack and let's talk. What we're going to talk about today is something that's very important. If you guys did not know, which I feel like you should know, it is Black History Month. We're going to talk about something that is very important, and we're going to talk about Black equestrians, especially through history. Got 4 people to talk about. We're going to start off with Charles Sonny Brooks, aka just Sonny. Sonny, Mr. Brooks, is a very special man. He is the first and still the only Black equestrian that has been inducted into the Show Jumping Hall of Fame. So we gotta change that, right? Yeah, we should. But he's also cool for breaking that barrier. Right. Mr. Brooks was inducted into the Show Jumping Hall of Fame in 2012, and that was 36 years after his death, which was in 1976? 1976. Ooh, why is this? Okay. What in the world? Hopefully this isn't like wasting it. So, back to Sonny. We're just gonna dig into his life a little bit. Let's start with this brow band. We're just gonna clean this brow band. Mr. Brooks, he was born in Connecticut, or he at least grew up in Connecticut. I'm not really sure where he was born. All the websites that I read just said he grew up there. I don't really know if he was born there, but let's just at least say he grew up there. He grew up near a hunt club called the Fairfield Hunt Club, where his dad ran the stables. So that's how he was like introduced to horses. His dad's supervision, he got to ride some of the horses and caught the eye of a couple of trainers. One of those trainers is Morton Cappy Smith, aka Cappy, and he is also in the Show Jumping Hall of Fame. So this was a pretty big deal. And so Sonny went to go train with Cappy. A little bit later in life, Cappy decides to move to Middleburg, Virginia, where if you were in the equestrian world, you know Middleburg's a pretty big place to, you know, be in the equestrian world. Because Cappy decided to move to Middleburg, Virginia, Sonny went along with him to continue his training. Sonny decides to move back to Connecticut, where he meets up with another one of Cappy's students. This student was Bill, I have a paper, Bill Steincross? Bill Steincross. We're gonna call him Bill. Bill was also another one of Cappy's students, so that was pretty cool, pretty neat. At the time, Bill was training for the Olympics and training with Arthur Nardin. And so he was pretty busy with Nardin's horses, so he got Sonny to keep up with his own horses. Bill goes on to join the Olympic team, the US Olympic team, and convinces Nardin to let Sonny train and show some of his like string of horses. So with his connection to Nardin, he gets to eventually show at many barns up and down the East Coast, many great barns. And he wins a lot of stuff too. Let me read this, okay. In 1953, Sonny earned the most wins in the history of Piping Rock's jumper division while riding a horse named Ping Pong, which is really cute. 1954, while riding Riviera Man, fancy name, he got reserve champion at Brookville and a championship at Piping Rock. And then in 1961, he won the National Horse Show's Open Jumper Championship against Al Fiore, Dave Kelly, and Harry DeLayer. There we go. And then in 1964, he won the Open Stakes at the Garden, which is a lot of stuff, and it was really big. It's like big achievements, you know what I mean? We're going back to the fact that this man was a black man, right? Right. So he rarely showed below the Mason-Dixon line. He really only showed in Florida. Like, everyone knows that Florida's a really big horse place. So that's the only place that he really showed at. He found it extremely hard to find like a place to stay. On top of it, like the showgrounds weren't really the nicest to him. He stayed more north. Because of the racial conditions of the US, it kind of made him drift to Mexico and Canada, where he spent a lot of time riding. Actually, in the late 60s, he moved to Canada and he rode for Canadiana Horse Training Center in Quebec, which was pretty cool, and he was successful showing for them. In the mid-70s, he died in Mexico of a heart attack, which is really sad. He was 54. He was pretty young, you know what I mean, to die of a heart attack. That's the first guy we talk about, Sonny. He is, once again, in the show Jumping Hall of Fame, so if you want to learn more, I'm going to put all of the links that I kind of looked up all this information down below, just so you can like learn more about these people, because they are really important. I've been cleaning this for a while. I think this brow band is pretty good, don't you think? I think it's good. Oof. Oof. Oh, this is a double bridle. This goes in a horse's mouth. Jeez Louises. Alright. Let's do this thing. Good doggy. Yeah, good puppy. I love you. So Donna Cheek, how she kind of started with horses is I relate a lot to. She started riding when she was 7. She was the only person in her family that really like did horses. It was kind of like just meant to be. Like, no one in her extended family rode horses or anything. She just wasn't exposed to it. It just eventually, she just liked horses, and that's how no one in my family rides horses. I was addicted from the start. So she started riding when she was 7. Her dad is a professor. Donna Cheek's mom was a stay-at-home mom. I don't think she worked. Donna Cheek has 4 other brothers, but she's the only one that rides. In some of the articles I read of her, she said that like her brothers don't really know what she does, like still to this day. It's kind of like she rides, like cool. You know what I mean? Like it's just so she rides and like moves on, right? Which is weird to me. I don't know. I feel like my siblings would be more invested in something where it's like literally my whole life, you know what I mean? The discipline that Donna Cheek does is hunters and jumpers. She obviously is super successful at it for the fact that she was on the US equestrian team. She used to have a private training facility in Paso Robles, California, but she closed it down. I think she's retired or is retiring. She also used to have a consignment store and like gift shop for horse stuff. Currently she is a host on the KCBX public radio. She talks about animal health and animal issues on the radio, and she has a little segment for that, which is really cool. I will say there's not too much about Donna Cheek online. She talks a little bit about her being like the oddball of, because she just didn't have any kids, she never got married, like her life was dedicated to the horses, and she doesn't regret anything. Like, go sis, yes. She's just living the rest of her life just chilling with her horses. I just thought she was a really cool person to feature because she's a woman and she was on the US equestrian team, which is huge for us Americans, and although there's not much, I really wanted to include her because that was a really big accomplishment. So we're just gonna move on to the next person that I'm gonna talk about. So we're gonna take it to a different discipline. We're gonna talk about Fred Whitford. Fred Whitford is a Western rider. He did a lot of tie-down roping. I had to look this up because I had no idea. I was like, tie-down roping, what does that mean? It pretty much means, or it's the competition where you're on your horse, they let a calf go, and you're supposed to run, rope the cow or the calf, hop off your horse and like tie up its legs. And then that's it, and you're supposed to do it in the fastest time. So Mr. Whitford is very successful in the rodeo world. He has 8 championship titles. 8. They're all in tie-down roping, so he's achieved a lot. Fred Whitfield was born in Houston, Texas in August 5th in 1967. All the articles were saying that he was born with a rope in his hand, which is pretty cool, I guess. I don't know how you can come out with a rope, but it's alright. I'm joking. So he kind of grew up in a pretty broken household. It was really just his mom. I'm not sure if he had siblings or not, but his mom was prevalent in his life. But his dad is in prison for murder. So I don't know if he's still in prison. Like, I don't know if he passed or anything, but he was sent to prison for murder. So how did he find the Western world and tie-down roping? It was the Moffett family, home of Joanne and Don Moffett, and they have a son named Roy. Roy did rodeo. Roy competed in rodeo, so this is how Fred got introduced to the horse world. Roy and Fred hung out a lot just because Fred's mom was consistently at the Moffett's house, being a maid, doing her job. And so that's where Fred got introduced into the Western world. Roy actually just taught Fred how to rope, and the Moffett family realized he was really good, so they helped fund his competitions, just so he can keep roping. The family was just really close. They were like, we're gonna help you. Fred's career really took off in the 90s. Let's see, I'm gonna bring out my trusty dusty paper again where I did my research. In the 1990s, he won the calf roping title at Wyoming's Frontier Days, which I'm assuming is like a rodeo like competition, I guess. And in the same year, he won the PRCA Bristol Rookie of the Year. I was like, look at you, Fred. Keep going, bud. And that's not where it stops, all right? In 1991, he won his first world championship in tie-down roping at the National Finals Rodeo, which is apparently the largest professional like rodeo in the world, which is amazing. In 1997, he set a record by roping 10 calves over the 10-day event with an average time of 84.0 seconds. In 1999, he was the first black cowboy in the PRCA to win an all-around NFR title, as well as he competed in the 3-day event tie-down roping, steer wrestling, and team roping. He was the second black cowboy to win an NFR, and then he's the third cowboy in history to win over $2 million over his career. So this dude is big ballin' from his horse career. So where is this man's now? He is semi-retired. He has a wife and 2 kids. They are resided in Hockney, Texas. He's just living his semi-retired life. He said, look, I got this cash. I got a family to spend time with. You've earned it, bud. You've earned it. So we're going to talk about Dr. William Bill Key. And I saved my favorite story for last for this video. It's my favorite story because Bill, which everyone called him Bill, was born a slave in 1833. So we're taking it way back. He was born, like I said, 1833. His master was Captain John Key. So I'm not sure when Captain died, but he died, and Bill was willed over to his cousin John Key. And John Key owned a farm. They lived in Shelbyville, Tennessee. So as a 6-year-old, Bill, as a 6-year-old, demonstrated a lot of talent with animals. Like, he just really could communicate and fix them, and he loved animals, and he was good with them, especially equine animals. Right? We gotta keep the horses in there. Because of his capability to work with animals so well, he was taught how to read. And he was able to read a lot of vet textbooks, and he learned how to, you know, be a vet. And eventually he became quite like the successful veterinarian, and he opens up a shop in town. He was never like official or like got a vet certification, but he opened the shop and everyone in town considered him a good vet, so they went to him. On the side, he also did like medical help for slaves as well. His successful veterinary business, he ended up opening up a racetrack. He bought and owned a restaurant, and he bought and owned a hotel. So this guy was just racking up, like, especially for a black man in the 1800s, like he was racking up some money. He also had a pharmaceutical company, which is also big. And then all in 5 years, he became one of the most like affluent men, like, or African American in the town, and I would honestly say America. With his success, he was able to get into horse racing. Like I said, he bought a racetrack, and now his goal is to have the fastest racehorse in the world. And this is where Beautiful Jim comes in. That was his horse's name. This was the horse that showed the most talent to him. He actually became one of the most well-known horses, right? Which is really weird because Bill didn't have a Wikipedia page, but his horse did, or does, and come on, I think Bill needs his own Wikipedia page, right? Back to the horse, Beautiful Jim. He was super talented. He was pretty much competing at a lot of big venues where I guess you race horses. But we're also back in the 1800s, so at the same time, he wasn't allowed to go to a lot of the venues as well, just because he was black and he, you know, people were racist. Like, that's not new. So he just kind of did what he could. Just so I don't butcher this, we're taking out my trusty dusty paper. So in 1897, Bill was asked to talk on the Negro Committee in Tennessee. Beautiful Jim came along. He had to have his horse with him, you know? Which they also traveled in style. He always had a groom. He had a little dog. I think his name was Monk. Like, the horse got like the best treatment. Even President McKinley saw Jim and was super impressed. McKinley applauded Bill for his training method with like horses. Bill highlighted that it's all about like the connection of the horse. Like, he never really used a whip, and I don't think he ever used a whip. Like, that's what he said. He didn't use a whip. He's like, you gotta be kind to the horses, kindness, respect, and they'll like respect you. Like, he was super, he didn't want the horse to be hurt. In 1909 is when Bill passed away. He passed away in Shelby, Tennessee. I thought that was a really cool story, kind of like a rags to riches type of story, especially for someone who was black in the 1800s, and you're gonna tell me he found a lot of respect, which he should, you know. It's just surprising. I think you should really check out his story. Once again, all the stories I talked about in this video are linked down below. I feel like there's very limited articles on black American equestrians, so I kind of did what I could with research. I talked to a couple of people that I knew who knew these people, or like knew a lot more information that like these articles weren't really talking about. I just wanted to do as much research as possible because I really want you guys to know about these 4 people that I talked about today, because they broke barriers in the equestrian world for people of color, and because it's Black History Month, I just thought it was a good conversation starter. Eventually, I would like to talk about more than just the black community within POC, but I just thought it was right to talk about the African Americans in the equestrian world just for the month of February. If there are people that you think I should talk about, leave a comment down below, and hopefully they'll be in my next Tack Talk. If there are any other conversations that you think would be great for a Tack Talk, also comment that below, because I won't only be talking about or educating people about history or people. That's not exactly what the Tack Talks were made for. It was just so I can talk to you guys. You know, like what if we did a conversation about bits or different types of horse breeds, or you know, it could be opinionated stuff. It could just be like, what do you think about the Kentucky Derby that's gonna happen in May or something? I don't actually know if anything's like, you know, the Kentucky Derby happens every May, or like the 3 races around that area. Like, what if we wanted to talk about that or something? Like, it literally could be anything in the horse world. This gives me something to do while I clean tack. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below what your favorite story from this video was. Once again, mine was William Bill Key. I thought he was pretty cool. He had a pretty cool story. And also comment down below if this is something that you want me to continue to do, because if you guys don't want to hear me talk about people or rant about anything or whatever, then I won't. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below, and also hit that notification bell so you're notified when my next video comes out. I come out with a video every Monday. That being said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you.